Hello, welcome to Wrangell St-Elias National Park. My name is Elizabeth Schafer and I'm a general ranger here. Behind me you can see the white ice of the Root Glacier coming down the valley. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what you need to do to be prepared to take a hike on the glacial surface. You should have some basic things in your backpack before heading out. Always carry multiple layers for changing temperatures. You should have a rain jacket for a wind layer or rain. Another important piece of gear would be gloves for your hands. Gloves will protect you not only from the cold, but in case you trip and fall on the rough surface of the glacier to protect your hand from injury. Some people really like to have trekking poles as they will hike, and so that's also another good idea. The most important piece of gear that you need to bring with you, though, are your crampons. The National Park Service highly recommends that you bring crampons to hike on the glacier. You need to supply your own and bring them with you. The surface of the glacier here at low elevations is snow-free. That means when you're out on the glacier, you're walking straight on ice. Crampons will help you get a good purchase into the ice surface to make sure that you do not slip or fall as you are traversing and route finding your ways up and down the valleys on the surface of the ice. When hiking on the glacier, you will find the surface of the ice, particularly after a row of sunny days, to be almost styrofoam-like in its consistency. It'll be crumbly and easy to get a purchase in with your crampons. If you're out there right after a hard rain, you'll find that the ice is a hard blue and it's much harder to stick your crampons into and is a lot more slick.
Now we got our crampons out. We want to make sure we got the left foot and right foot set up correctly. You're going to put your heel in, then your toe in, and wrap the toe piece around your foot, and your heel up. You're going to take the webbing, which should be on the outside of your foot, and run it through the toe piece, and back to the inside, and loop it through. You're now going to take the webbing across your instep and back over to your buckle, which is on the outside of your foot. My crampon has a double D-ring, so you're going to bring it through both Ds, snug it up, then I'm going to weave it back through one D. You're going to want to get it good and snug and then need to get the slack out of your webbing and tighten it up. Now you got this long tail, you want to make sure it is tucked in well so that you don't have a tripping hazard while you're out on the ice. If it's long enough, you can bring it all the way around and tie it in. Mine is too short, so I'm just going to weave it through the webbing on my toe and get that loose end out of my way. Now that foot feels good, put the second one on.
All right, so we've got our crampons on now, and we're all ready to go. Everybody's got their gloves. When you're hiking on the glacier, it's easy to trip. And so wearing your gloves is good for the cold, but good for if you end up landing on this nasty ice and you don't want to cut your hands up. So gloves are good for that. We've got trekking poles, if that makes you feel more comfortable. They can help keep you stable, keep you from tripping. And I talk about tripping, you're like, I'm not gonna trip. Oh, you might. You have crampons on your feet. You've just added 1.5 inches of spikes on the bottom of your foot. So your first things you need to remember is you're gonna have to pick your foot up higher when you walk than you might normally. When I walk, I tend to drag my heels. Some people drag their toes. You're gonna have to be conscious of lifting your feet up so that you don't catch the points. You're also gonna be conscious of not walking too close together, because if you walk with your feet right next to each other, you've got a big chance of hooking your pants or your straps or something. So you want to consciously have your feet wider apart. I'm going to model that. Walking with your knees up, so we're exaggerating now, and it'll be more natural as we get going. While walking on the glacier, there's some techniques to help you have a better time. You want to make sure that you're walking with your feet wide apart so that you do not trip yourself by catching your crampon spikes into your pant legs. You also want to make sure that you lift your feet up high enough off the ground so that you aren't catching your spikes on the ice surface as you're walking. When you're heading up a hill, it is best to walk in a duck walk fashion, having your feet turned out, feet wide apart, and walking up the hill in small steps, kind of like a duck would. Your center of gravity will probably fall back, and you'll be in a slight squat. That is the same idea that you will want to use for coming down a steep hill. Body of gravity is lower, your feet are wide apart, and your feet are pointed out. Small steps to duck walk down the hill. So when we walk up a slope, if you're walking up a steep mountainside, people tend to go onto the balls of their foot and just use part of their foot to climb up a rock or dirt slope. In crampons, we want all of our points in the ice at all times. That's what's giving us our support and our stability. So even if we're going up something steep, we're coming back down something steep, all points are in the ice. None just on the toe or just the heel. So even if you're side hilling, you might have to bend your legs a little weird. So we're going to walk up this hill, and the process of walking up a steep hill or back down it is to duck walk. You're going to have your feet wide apart at an angle. You might drop your hips a little bit depending on how steep it is to have your body weight over with your feet. We're just going to walk up the hill, and then there's exaggerated moments. So I got my trekking poles for stability, and we're going to head up the hill. Y'all ready? All right. Feel good? All right. So when you go down a hill, same idea. Sometimes we'll hit this slope isn't so steep, but we'll practice the technique here, so if you're on a steeper slope, it makes sense. You're gonna walk down the hill, same duck walk, but you have to drop your hips so that your weight is here. So on a super steep hill, it'll give you a lot of stability, but that's how you wanna walk down a hill. So the same duck walk, all points in and back down. While traveling on the glacier, it's important to remember to only do one thing at a time. There is no multitasking on the glacier. We're not taking pictures and walking. We're not drinking out of our water bottles and walking. No multitasking. It's easy to trip. So if you're walking, you're paying attention to what you're doing. If you need to drink some water, you want to take a picture, you're going to stop. You're going to take your picture, then you put it in your pocket, and then you're going to walk. So no multitasking on the glacier, okay? Awesome. You want to be careful of the features that are out there on the ice. There are crevasses, moulins, and steep-sided walls and valleys. You need to be careful by picking up your feet so that you do not trip, staying away from steep edges, and if you want to get close to take a look at things, be very conscientious of what you are doing, give yourself plenty of distance, be conscious of your body weight and how you're placing your feet. So when we're traveling out on this glacier, the Root Glacier, in the summertime, all the snow is melted off the surface, so we can see the obstacles, we can see our dangers, and we can see the safe path to go. Obviously, there's a lot of really cool features out here in the ice, like the moulin behind us. That's fun to get close and take a look at, but you gotta be thinking about it, and you gotta be safe. You've got the crampons on your feet, which if they're new to you, make you more likely to stumble and fall, so you don't obviously want to stumble near a big hole or crevasse. All right, you want to stumble somewhere where you can fall and pick yourself up. So when we go near a feature, a wall, a crevasse, or moulin that you want to get a better look at, you got to think about your body balance. Is this your best way to balance?
No.
No, because both your feet are right here and you're top heavy. So when you go close to the edge of something, you want to have 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, and you can lean over, take a look, step back, and walk away. When we go up close to a feature like this, I want 1 person at a time, not a crowd, so we're not bumping each other, and you're paying attention to what you're doing. Okay? So we can take turns. And get a little better look. Taking a hike out to the Root Glacier is often people's highlight when they come to visit the Wrangell St-Elias National Park. I hope the information that I gave you today will help you to have a fun and enjoyable experience. Enjoy your national parks!